Guess what, guys? What we're looking at today? It's going to be my locking pliers, vice grip, torque lock collection of pliers here. Some of them are old, some of them are new, some of them are cheap as hell. And I figure if you guys want to go grab a beer, sit down and look at this, I'd appreciate it. Right off the bat, we got these Pittsburghs. When I bought these looked pretty cool. They're probably, I don't know, 10 years old or so now. Your typical locking pliers. But as you can see, by talking about cheap ones, these are locked down and you still got a gap up here. So as much as they don't really look like they're bent, these things are bent, you know. So steel makes a big difference in these things. The way I kind of look at all these locking pliers is kind of like the AK-47 of tools, you know. It's just almost like sheet metal, bent around, a bunch of rivets holding the things together, you know. Some are better than others, you know. These aren't bad. They got a little wobble in them, but obviously the steel up here is pretty cheap, you know. You got a wire cutter there. I bent these actually just recently. They've been working for me pretty good, I guess. But my wife was driving my car and blew out a brake line, and man, to get that brake line off was a freaking pain in the butt, you know. I tried a wrench, a couple different wrenches. I just snapped the line off and took the socket, put a socket on there. Everything was just stripping out, you know. I tried to get some of the bigger pair of vice grips in there. I didn't have room, so it was just me grabbing this thing. And even when I broke it loose, man, it fought me every inch of the way with these suckers, you know. So probably the $4 or $5 I spent on these things a long time ago paid for itself right there, you know. So these are Pittsburghs. They get a lifetime warranty, but I probably won't return them. I'll probably try to bend the jaws back, because I think the new ones that are made by Pittsburgh right now are pretty junky. They look worse than those, you know. These are another pair of Pittsburghs. They're actually pretty nice. I mean, they line up when they're locked. There's not a lot of play in them. You know, a little bit of wobble, but you know, when you're looking at a riveted joint, you know, what do you expect, you know? I had one pair, they were so loose, I tried putting this part in a vise just to try to clamp it down to give the jaws a little less play in there, but these aren't bad. Not bad Pittsburgh pliers. This is one of the newer brands, but then they put them on closeout, so I snagged them up because they actually look kind of nice. I guess for some reason I'm a sucker for these soft grips, you know. Maybe just having big hands, or, you know, having a little extra meat on there to grab. This is a little different style. Like, obviously with this style, you got the lever that disengages it. There's no lever, it's just a flip open type of thing. And I think I paid, like, these are on clearance. If you get them at your Home Depot, or not Home Depot, Harbor Freight Tools, they're going for around $7 or $8. I figured they look pretty nice. I figured these are getting kind of old, and you know, any of these locking pliers are going to be disposable to me, I would just say, you know. I mean, they last longer than you think, because you know, they don't have a ton of applications, but when you need to clamp down on something, you know, they're there. I mean, I use them as a vise a lot of times if I'm going to be welding something, hold something together. If I got to, like, hold like a small piece of metal and I'm going to be grinding on it or something like that, that's kind of what I'm using these for. I was taught probably in my teenage years, use the proper tool for the job, and when these are the proper tool for the job, then things are kind of going off the rails, you know. I got these right here. These are the Milwaukee, they call them torque locks, but to me they're the same darn thing as the Brennans. This is, I don't know if I said that, but that's what Harbor Freight's brand is, Brennan, for their locking pliers. And truthfully, these things, I mean, obviously the jaws are different here, but everything else is so similar. I would imagine these are probably made in the same factory. You know, you throw on some Milwaukee grips there. You swing out the back lug for this little thumb screw, and the thumb screw is nice. I like it. Like if you're clamping down on something and you need a little extra torque, you can put a nail in there or whatever and turn that and give it a little extra torque. Whereas like this one you can actually put an Allen wrench in the back end and tighten it down. But the deal with the Allen wrench is like you have to have like premeditated, like get your Allen wrench ready and you know that type of thing. Most of the time with these you're just grabbing them for a quick job, wrench something off, you know. Whereas this, you know, you could stick anything in there and get that extra torque down on these. So I believe these are the 6-inch. So far all these are this CRMO metal, some sort of chromoly I'd imagine, you know. They're all pretty good. These are the 10-inch. I believe these are 6-inch. One thing about these, they got a nice sturdy spring inside of them. Same thing with the big lug on the back. They got pretty good jaws on them. None of these I don't think are really bad with the jaws wearing down. I think they know they got to give you some good jaws, because even when I was looking inside these Pittsburghs, there's a couple worn spots through there, but I mean nothing's completely worn down, you know. So with those, you got the wire cutters in there. I guess you got wire cutters in here, or banding wire, or whatever you want to cut with those, you know. Same thing with the Milwaukees. But man, if that's what you look at the finish on these two, and it looks real similar. I mean, we're talking like the same size and of everything, you know. So anybody, if you're a Milwaukee fanboy, which I kind of am to some extent, you know, it's a little disappointing. So you open that up. I mean, this weird oblong piece that sticks out in the middle. And it's shaped a little bit differently, but it's that same kind of like, I don't know what you call this finish on this metal, but just I call it like cheap China metal or something, you know. I think these are made in Taiwan, but I'm not sure. But you can see these, they got a good wobble to them. The jaws line up pretty nice when you lock down on it. Let's give it a little extra lockdown, see what happens there. I don't know if you can look, but those are actually off by a little bit. But like I said, when you got a riveted metal thing here, it's kind of hard to do that, you know. You got these got a nice, like I said, a nice stiff spring in there. It's really got a nice kick out when you want to kick these out, because a lot of times you're wrenching on something, kicking it out, reattaching, going back around. I mean, it's not often that you get to just crank it on there and spin something off, but you know, being in the Rust Belt here, you definitely have to use some locking pliers once in a while, you know. And these are some vice grips that I'm going to say are like top of the line. If there was a top of the line vice grips, that's what you want, or to use. I mean, these are about $20 a piece, $15-$20 a piece, probably on Amazon. Like I said, I got these on clearance for about $8, and these are probably $10 for both of them. Who knows, you know? But these are one of the last USA made vice grips, and I don't know if you can look at the finish on those, but it's big time different, you know. I mean, these are like polished metal. There's like no wobble in these things. I mean, we're talking minuscule movement of the jaw whatsoever. They lock down nice and smooth. There's no movement in the handle once they're locked down. Same thing though, you got this Allen key to give the extra lockdown on them. But they're all the same. I found these in my back of my toolbox, and these must be pretty old. These are probably real early 2000, 2005 or something like that, because these are actually labeled vice grips, and you know, you didn't really think about it much back then, but these were the originals. It says made in the USA, so these are original USA vice grips. I think they're made in like I forget where they were made, maybe in Pittsburgh or PA or something like that. Maybe not Pittsburgh, but I think PA until a certain time. And then Irwin bought them out, and Irwin shipped everything over to China. So, while Irwin still makes a good vice grip, they're still China made. So I got those. I got this one. I had to pull it out of my work truck. I don't know what you'd call that thing, but I'd call it like a, I don't know, humpback whale or something like that, vice grip type of loading or locking down plier. I don't even know what you're really supposed to use these for, but I'll show you what I do use them for. On these, on the end here, I welded this big O-ring on here, steel O-ring, and what I do is, I do construction. So if I'm pulling like a bunch of like bent out pieces of sheet metal to a rooftop or something like that, what I'll do is I'll clamp these down on a piece of metal, throw my rope in here, and then I can pull them up to the roof. Because I don't know if you've ever pulled up like multiple pieces of sheet metal up the side of a building before, but there's no good way to, like, when you got 8-foot long pieces, there's no good way to tie that stuff up and make sure none of it slips out, And the guy tying it up, that could be deadly for him. So, that's what I use these for. This is a vice grip, the original. Yeah, it's the original, I guess. Originally made in China. I don't know if this, all the other ones say that's where they list what type of steel they are, but these say 12LC. So I don't know if someone knows what 12LC for is. If you want to leave it in the comments, I'd appreciate it. Like I said, this is always a learning experience, even for me doing it. Here, I guess the metal is just USA metal, This is LP7WC. So I wonder if that's the type of metal there, because that's an LP7, and then these say 7R. So I don't know if that's a 7-inch plier or what. But just so you guys know, these are... These USA ones are called Melco Eagle Grips, and I got another pair of them here. They're still in the box. I snagged up a new pair of these just because I don't know if you guys know it, but the company was sold to Snap-on, and Snap-on is going to start producing them in one of their own factories. So these are made in, let me see where it says here, DeWitt, Nebraska. So I guess Snap-on is actually shutting down this plant, and they're going to be moving these to, I don't know, Wisconsin or something like that, to one of their manufacturing facilities. And, right now you can still get some of these. They're getting kind of rare on Amazon for around $30 to $40 a pair, depending on your size and what's left over. If you want to grab a piece of USA tool, I'd suggest probably going in and getting them. These things are definitely worth it, Some things I don't see it worth the money, But and why I'm choosing locking pliers, I have no idea. But the quality of these is top notch. I mean, when you look at those, I mean, they line up perfectly. There's no wobble in these things. I mean, the side-by-side action in this is so minuscule. You're just such a nice, great tool, But I've already heard some people mention that they can't wait for Snap-on to start producing theirs so they can get a Snap-on name on there. And then I guess Snap-on's going to be selling, these are about $40. Snap-on's going to be selling theirs for about $80. And people can't wait to get the exact same thing for 80 bucks. So these are them. These are the what I would consider the best locking pliers you can get. These are the straight jaws. You know, you can get all different types of jaws in these things. You know, obviously this is a curved jaw. You know, there's a straight jaw. Funny story, I remember when I was about 13, 14 years old, my buddy invited me over to help him get this mini bike going. So we were, I don't know what we were taking off. We were taking off things and putting things on and cleaning things. And his dad was a mechanic, and a pretty good mechanic. He had a real nice set of tools, you know, a couple big toolboxes, all S&K, and some Snap-on mixed in and stuff. I think some Matcos. And I'm 13, 14, you know, and he's like, my buddy's like, oh yeah, we need, this bolt's like moving on the other side. So he goes, you know, go grab those locking pliers over there, you know. So grabbed the locking pliers. I never really used too many tools at that time of my life. My dad didn't have a lot of tools, just barely enough. His tools fit inside a little laundry tub, you know. So I go to lock down on these things. His dad comes in. He sees us. He sees me with these locking pliers on there on the back end of a bolt, and frickin' cranks me upside the head and just looks at me and says, use the right fucking tool for the right fucking job. And I'm like, hey, my buddy told me to, he told me to grab him. He goes, oh, I don't care, that's it, you know. So that's my little story of locking pliers, you know. And, you know, something like that sticks with you, you know. I was a little embarrassed at the time, but you learned a valuable lesson to try to use the right tool for the right job. And sometimes these are the right tool for the job. Sometimes they're not. But when all else fails, you can grab yourself a pair of lockjaw pliers and hammer down on a bolt and get it off if you have to, you know. Sometimes it's some sort of a demolition type of thing or whatever. But that's it, guys. Like I said, I would go on Amazon if you're slightly interested. Get yourself a pair of these before they're all gone. I bought mine a couple weeks ago. Well, these I've had for about a year or so, but the other ones, the 10 inches, I got them about 2 weeks ago, and there's still some available on Amazon. So if you get any locking plier stories or comments about any of these or questions or whatever, then leave a comment down in the thing. I'd always appreciate if you can like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to get a little channel going here, and I don't know, maybe we'll see if I can get enough subscribers in here, then maybe we can start doing some giveaways on some of these tools. I wouldn't mind doing that, because you can only have so many darn tools, you know. So let me know what you guys think, and I'm out, man. Dump the truck, and you have a good